you know, it really kind of galvanises the community, and that's what we're seeing here. They've got a lot of support here, and to play at a stadium like this on a day, an occasion like this is great for the club.
And it's Vicky Foxwell who gets us underway. The black and gold up against the blue and gold, and that one has not gone 10, a sloppy start.
It's not ideal, is it? You know, as a kicker, you want to get that off the mark, but we know good set piece from Worcester. There'll be something that they'll want to kind of reset and get going. And I know we talked about at the beginning of the show, but just want a good start. Didn't get it last weekend, and they'll really want to kind of set a marker at home today.
Well, they've been handed quite a nice way to get things back on track, because Wasp scrum is ailing. It's the weakest in the league, and without Liz Craik they might struggle today. But right in the centre of the pitch, here we go, your front rows this afternoon: Akina Gondway, Karis Phillips and Catherine Wells. Tracking down opposite, Andrea Scott, Christina Blanco and Katie Dugan. Polly Roberts with the push in, and it's a big old shove from the host, but the ball is out, whipped clear, not knocked forwards, the referee reckons. So Musgrove has her first carry of the afternoon. Down the blind side they go. And Wasps now looking after a nervy start from the hosts to settle any pre-match jitters of their own. Becky Ball with a carry. Used to play for Wasps, then went away and played touch for a bit. But according to RJ Lewis, she was absolutely loving being back in full contact training. She's been given licence to thrill and kill this afternoon, and to get really stuck in that back row. There's their opposite number, Evie Gallagher, her first outing wearing a Warriors jersey, and now Lewis spins it out through the hands of Yamamoto, the brave blossom. Abby Kershaw, the fullback, gets it away to Foxwell and does brilliantly to make it a little 1-2, because that line speed from Wasps, that was voracious. Worcester going nowhere quickly. Lewis, Yamamoto in at first receiver this time. Nicholas just about picks out Catherine Wells, but it's turned over by Wasps. Worcester taking a bit of time to settle.
Really did a really bright start from Wasps, both ball and hander and also defensively, and it's great to see, isn't it? You know, I think for Wasps they are having a turbulent season. It is very hard when you haven't picked up your first win, so all these little moments that build confidence just allow you to grow into a game, and like we say for Worcester, start to basically rattle them as well.
Worcester have struggled with quick starts recently, struggled in fact with consistency, and I spoke to Sian Moore during the week, the assistant and the attack coach for Warriors, and she said that they're struggling both with consistency across 80 minutes in matches and across the season as a whole. So Katie, at this stage in the season, if consistency isn't clicking, what can you do?
I think it's just about going back to your process. You know what good coaches Worcester have here, and they'll just keep trying to drill that, and it will click. And sometimes, you know, you do go through runs of games where you don't get the rub of the green.
And it really has been quite a run of games for Warriors. As we mentioned, this is an 11-game block. Wish we could say they were getting some rest, but no rest for the wicked. Begin at the TikTok Six Nations. It's right around the corner, and around the corner go Worcester Warriors. Lovely hands from Yamamoto, who frees it. A lovely support line too from Fiona Lewis, and she is stretching her legs. Shows a clean pair of heels to get Worcester up and running. Well, they stumbled from the blocks, but the scoreboard says otherwise. 3 minutes played, and Worcester up with a try.
What a lovely try it was, isn't it? You know, game was a little bit slow there, errors either way, and what we've seen there is how dangerous Worcester can be. For me, it's the short side. It's really good identification here that Wasps have got numbers there. Nice little hands from Yamamoto, and Clark is away. Lovely ball transfer. You know, we talk about ball in two hands, and that line there for all nines. Fiona Lewis has just tracked play. She hasn't gone ball following. She's done that really nice 9 cheat line and just kept going straight, tracking the ball in, and you can't stop her from there. What a lovely run in.
And what an opportunity for Fiona Lewis, because of course Worcester's captain Katie Matheson, Scotland's starting scrum half these days, has been keeping her on the bench. This is only her third start of the campaign.
Yeah, and you know, a quality player, and it's all testament to how Katie Matheson has gone. But I think the last time I was here, I watched Fiona Lewis play, and she was instrumental in the comeback that against Worcester v Loughborough, and how instrumental she is. So it's great for her to get a nice try, and again, her confidence, like you say, going into the TikTok Six Nations is going to be huge.
One of the Welsh players who had confirmation this week they'll be on a full-time contract for the WRU going forwards. Vicky Foxwell got her own score sheet up and running, adds the extras there. Wasps trailing by 7 with 5 played. As Hannah Edwards, the experienced Hannah Edwards, gets us back underway.
Knock on, offside.
But that's 2 kickoffs now we've had in this game, and 2 that have gone woefully for the hosts. An immediate territory game for the visitors. Can they strike back right away?
Something that we know Wasps will want to use. They'll want to use the line out. We know they've really struggled, like you said, with their scrum dominance. You know, it's one of the lowest success rates in the league. But actually, from line out, they've been about 83%. So this will be a really good opportunity for them to try and get some points on the board.
10 metres out. And Chris Blanco with the darts, just back from winning the Rugby Europe Championship, skippering Spain. 90 points to 5 they beat Sweden in the final. That's a cricket scoreline. And here comes a blue wave, a swarm of Wasps, 5 metres out now, making real progress. A metre out. Worcester putting their bodies on the line. Counter drive just starts to build up ahead of steam, but away from the back peels a Wasp. Ball dotted down, and up comes Katie Dugan. An immediate response.
A great, really good response from Wasps there. It is everything you want after you've conceded a try, you know. Good kick-off by Hannah Edwards, bit of a miscommunication from Worcester to allow for the penalty to happen. We go into the corner, something that they know they're confident at, and a really, really nice drive-driven maul. As everybody will know who's listened to me before, I do enjoy talking about these, but for me it's the way that they're patient about it. You know, Worcester set, and this nice little break from Katie Dugan, it is great. She's identified that the space that the Warriors defenders have sucked in, and she's gone over for an easy score.
It's her first start of the season, Dugan, and the nous to know when to peel off. Really impressive. Hannah Edwards on song. And watching on at home, head coach LJ Lewis will be absolutely delighted, because we spoke in the week and she said at the very least we want a try from this match. They've only scored 5 this season, Wasps. There's their 6th one there, and with only 7 minutes played, Casey.
Yeah, we look like we might have a game on our hands, don't we, really?
That's a much better kick-off from Foxwell. Made absolutely sure of it, sent that deep into Wasps' half. But again, the penalties starting to mount. Worcester are 8th in the league when it comes to discipline, averaging 12 penalties conceded a match. As we just see a little bit of attention given to Andrea Stock, loose head for Wasps. Just a chance to reflect on how bright a start that was for Wasps. And of course, Aldrina is not here today. She is 37 weeks pregnant, which is someone who was recently also nursing a bun in the oven, Katie. 37 weeks, not really a time to be at a rugby match.
No, especially probably not that far away from home either. Cool. No, but speaking to some of LJ's staff, obviously she's still been on the pitch, she's still been coaching. Apparently she was still climbing ladders up into their viewing gallery as well. So hopefully she's all tucked up at home and nice and calmly watching this game.
And hopefully with a future Red Rose or Premier 15 star on the way.
Indeed, indeed.
So back to matters at hand. She'll be delighted wherever she is. LJ, good to have your company here on Premier15s.com, and to all the rest of you watching on Edwards. Picks out Laughlin, and of all the people that you want to see gathering your kick, it is not Vicky Laughlin. She is a velvety runner, the co-captain. Back into the centre of the park, Sarah Nicholas. What a flat line that was. And offsets Taz Bricknell. It takes 2 Wasps to bring down the blind side. Lewis is scragged, frees her hands, finds Buckland Harry. Here is Phillips. Laughlin again. Evie Gallagher, the 7-star, wearing 7, making her debut and looking to mark it with a score. Brought down, brilliant tackle, but Buckland Harry is on side with the support line. And it is raining tries at Six Ways.
It really is, isn't it? There's some really, really nice rugby on show today. I think for me, obviously we'll go back, we'll watch this replay, but watch it live, it's just the quality of Worcester's support. The way that they are on each other's shoulders, if we look at it here, I mean, we're only going to see the end towards it. But again, that nice little interlink between Harries and Gallagher, and then I think it's Buckland Hurry, isn't it? So 3 forwards who are there, just getting their hands free, knowing where the support runners are. It's great, and that is a hard skill. You know, she's tackled from behind to be able to manage her body, make sure she's sighted her support runner and get the ball to her. Is a great bit of skill.
And a try like that from a team that has rung 11 changes since last week, and a try like that which twice featured Evie Gallagher, who's not played for Warriors before. How much does that speak about the culture and the cohesion of this side?
I think, and also just the quality of players that Jo Yam that she has at her accessibility, isn't it? These players have not been in the side, but actually they have their ability just to flick the switch into lingo. And talking to Jo about Evie Gallagher, she's just so pleased. She's going to get 40 minutes a day, returning from a nasty ankle injury, and obviously with the Six Nations looming, like we've talked about, it's a really good shot window for her to put her hand up for Scotland selection.
Evie Gallagher's story was really heartbreaking this summer. Selected for the World Cup to go to Scotland, and in the final session, the day before they flew, was coming down from a line out, landed awkwardly, did all sorts of mischief to her ankle, and this is her first return. It's so good to see her back because, wow, she is just a ballistic player, ball in hand, isn't she?
She is, and you just look at the acceleration there, you know, as a back row, she's off the mark, and after coming back from a lower limb injury, it's kind of, you worry about those lower limb, will you have that acceleration? I mean, she looks on fire there, doesn't she?
She's come back even quicker than ever. She's played sevens at a Commonwealth Games, so you'd expect her to have pace to burn, but it's really come good there. We're averaging far more than a point a minute. 10 plays. Worcester Warriors with 2 converted scores, courtesy of Fionn Lewis and Amelia Buckland-Harry, both converted by Foxwell. And Wasps with 1 of their own. We go again. What a week for me to have lost my voice. I feel like there could be an awful lot of shouting if the tries continue to come at this rate of knots. Roberts finding Mead, Sydney Mead. A back converted into a back rower. Now this is Lennon.
Just going back for the knock-on.
But knocked on, we will come back for a scrum.
Okay. Knock on.
Wasps have obviously had so much thrown at them this year, and mentioning Sydney Mead as a centre and a winger converted into a back rower, this team sheet is littered with players slightly out of position or who've had to be very adaptable and very versatile. What is the weirdest position you ever found yourself in, Katie?
I was very fortunate, I think. I played a little bit of 9, but that's probably as far out as I was allowed to go. I played fullback once as well.
Katie Daly-McLean at full. That's a terrifying prospect.
Well, because I was so slow.
No, with all the kicks at your disposal.
Too kind.
Edwards, wrap around Musgrove, Scotland fullback, on an arcing run onto that one, but it's well read by the Worcester defence. Becky Ball, one of the best names you'll hear today for a rugby player. She adds a carry. Stock, back on her feet, back hustling, and so too is Mead. Places it backwards, and Roberts, formerly of Hove, of Richmond, of Quinns. Lovely skills from Hannah Edwards there to prevent that being knocked forward. Great footballing skills, and nod of approval from Katie Daly-McLean, but all the applause for the women in blue and gold. A crucial turnover, and Taz Bricknell at the heart of it.
Yeah, it was a really nice touch, wasn't it, from Hannah Edwards for a ball that is dipping from your scrum half. But again, you know, Wasps were getting some momentum there. They'd had a lot of territory, and again, it was a great jackal, but just that support just needs to be a bit quicker, a bit more urgent, because those moments are going to be really, really crucial if Wasps are going to stay in this game.
Particularly with their depleted resources on the bench. They've got 5 replacements available to them today, so surely this opening 40 is essential.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely huge for them, and you know the quality that Worcester have on their bench as well. So this group, they've got to get out, they've got to keep this score really nice and close and take as many opportunities as possible.
12's got to move.
It's cleanly done by Phillips, as we'd expect. She's an excellent line-out thrower, the hooker. 3 Rugby World Cups under her belt now and counting. Down the short side they go. It worked for them earlier, and here is Phillips in that scrum cap.
Roll from there. Use 14 steps.
It's slow, much slower than they'll want. And Lewis decides to hoisted up over the top. Musgrave is up to the task of defusing it and weaves her way past Gondway, past Buckland Hurry, puts her foot to the floor, pedal to the metal, but brought down by Vicky Laughlin, who not only makes the tackle but the rip too. The artful dodger steals that one. This one is frenetic, you cannot take your eyes off it. Wells through the hands of Gondway, slightly late tackle there by me, but never mind, the ball is with Nicholas. Brought down, it's a high hit by Vaughan Fowler, so it's Worcester with the advantage. Ball back, here goes Lewis. Laughlin, such an elusive runner, wonderful little stutter step, and she is so capable of moments of magic. Vicky Laughlin, a velvety score, just oozing class at six ways. And Worcester have their third through their co-captain.
I mean, watching that from up here, that was such a lovely step, wasn't it? I am excited to watch the replay back of that, but take a bow, Vicky Laughlin.
That was gorgeous. You lifted your microphone to your mouth there, Casey, and I thought, here comes the insightful analysis of an 116 cap Red Rose, and you just went,
It's, you know what it is? I've never ever been able to do that, but the girls that are so quick and they have such good evasion, it's the body shift, isn't it, that just sends a defender one way, and then she has the acceleration just to take the space on her outside shoulder, and then obviously we know what, like you say, she's a velvety runner. She reminds me of the likes of Sue Day, Jess Breach, that they just glide. You don't know how they're covering the ground as fast as they do, because they're just gliding on top of it, and that's a really lovely individual try.
The flags go up, and Foxwell is 3 from 3. She's on fine form today, the outside centre. But Vicky Laughlin, let's talk a little bit more about that one, because she's always in the running, it seems, for try of the week, and surely that's going to be up there.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think for her, like we said, it's her ability, it's her physical capability of how quick she is, but also her ability to change direction. But from a defensive point of view, Wasps have got to manage the short side a little bit better. They're leaving too many players in that open, that big part of the pitch, and just leaving that short side, where Worcester have picked them off 2 or 3 times now.
And again, they come. Sean and Harry's bundled unceremoniously backwards. Oh, and what a line from Taz Bricknell. They just come again and again, these Warriors. So appropriately named.
Come away clearer, please.
Sean Moore, their attack coach, will be purring on the touchline, but Wasps managed to turn that one over.
Yeah. Forward.
Forwards pass.
I'll try and run the line here.
So we'll have the scrum. You can hear just there over the referee's mic how out of breath Fionn Lewis is. The ball and play time for this has been immense.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of stoppages, has it? It started a little bit slow, but now once they get going, and I think the other thing probably from Fionn Lewis is that the run-in, these tries are running 50 metres, and generally she will be tracking that as a 9, just in case it's a tackle, because she needs to be one of the first there.
Oh, and also because there's a try at the end of it if she's in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, poacher's try.
Set.
So it's been fairly even at the scrum so far, but that was an almighty shove from the hosts. And here is Molly Saunders, former GB beach volleyball player. I wonder if she misses the conditions of that when she's playing rugby in 3 degrees in Worcester. Wasps through Roberts, and now Edwards. She loves kicking in play, Hannah Edwards, does it more than almost any other fly half in the league, and she sends it into open field at the back. It's Abigail Kershaw, whose twin sister Jess plays at scrum half as well for us, but it's Abby who's on the pitch today, wearing 15, who manages to gather that one. Here's Gallagher, keeps the ball, almost loses her top. She might well actually have lost. No, jersey is still on, all good. Fionn Lewis back to Nicholas, who finds grass and pressure alleviated. What did you make of that kick?
Yeah, no, it's probably 1 as a 10. You would like a little bit more protection, you know, at the referee saying all in front, so maybe one that Fionn Lewis could have box kicked and just taken a little bit of pressure off. But I thought the one off from Hannah Edwards was really smart. She identified a bit of backfield space in that bottom right hand pocket, and we know Hannah Edwards has got a very strong kicking game, and Wasps will need that. They will need territory in this game to make sure they don't let Worcester get away from them.
Edwards signed for Wasps. all the way back in 2009. She's got, as of this moment, 196 points in that jersey. Wonder if we'll see her hit the big 200 today. Cute inside ball from Lennon to pick out ball. And Wasps now with options on either side. This is Tuck, Emily Tuck with a carry. Those space buns charging towards heavy traffic. Scored a try against DMP just a couple of weeks ago. That's definitely forwards from Musgrove. Maybe that's just me. Ball back the other way, coast to coast go Wasps. Blanco looks to free her hands, does so very nicely. Here is Mead, brought down by Phillips. Bricknell was looking to pilfer there, but the referee told her to keep her mitts off. Looping pass from Edwards. And now Lennon, formerly of Saracens. Really hot young prospect of a playmaker. In the same way they go. Coe. Helen Coe skippering this afternoon. Not wearing a number today, but she's playing at number 8. Now some phases from Wasps, who are playing, right as I was about to say, playing with real patience. But it's gathered well by Mead, the Loughborough University graduate. Back to Edwards, and here is that beat again. Kershaw positioned herself really nicely there. Oh, and then skins Lewis on the inside, almost gets Blanco, but the hooker reads that well. Lewis races over, finds Wells. My favourite fact about Catherine Wells is that she says she's in love with 2 Harrys, Styles and Potter. I don't know which one is it a better crush to have. Probably Styles more socially acceptable. Lewis,
I think so.
Picks out Gallagher. I just liked it as a... Oh, and here's that Wells! Scampers over one tackle in open field, decides to let the back do the running and picks out Lewis. Saunders manages to get a hand in the way of that passing lane, and now here's Vaughan Fowler. Scored a screamer at Franklin's Gardens against Loughborough Lightning earlier in the season. Coe in to clear that ball out. It's stripped, it's turned over by Worcester.
Sorry.
Becky Ball slow to rise, but she's back to her feet. And Foxwell shaping for the corner here. Is that the decision you would make?
Yeah, definitely. As we watch this lovely little dummy from Abby Kershaw, absolutely sells Lewis there, doesn't she? And it's one that, you know, once it happened as a player, think I need to get on my bike and I need to track it down from behind.
Kershaw's played 10, 12 and 15 for Warriors this year. And with all that space at fullback, she's a really exciting prospect. But here comes the Warriors maul. Phillips has it and she trundles over the line. That's the bonus point. Worcester Warriors with a shaky start, but they have found their feet now, and they look every inch the victors today.
They really do. I think that's the 9th try from Karis Phillips today. Probably, I would assume that a lot of them will have come from her pack. And from the maul, but again, you know, you can't, if you're going to give possession away so cheaply from a Wasps perspective, you know that Worcester are always going to go into the corner, and we look how well shaped it is, how tucked in Karis Phillips is at the back, and again, it's just that identification of space, isn't it? There's nobody on the short side, the maul has been twisted away from the touchline, and it's a very, very easy try for somebody of her quality.
That's the bonus point within 20 minutes for Joe Yapp's side. They've quite the gap between them and Harlequins in the table. And that agonisingly close by Vicky Foxwell. What an effort that was. I almost wondered if it might have bounced off the crossbar and through the uprights.
Yeah, they're the ones that they've probably just dipped too much and it hits it a bit too square. You just almost want it to skid it and go over.
She's a wonderful kicker of a rugby ball though, Foxwell. I'm used to seeing her inside centre this year, but in order to accommodate Nicholas and Yamamoto on the field, she's been scooched to outside centre. What have you made of that axis, by the way?
I think it's great. You can watch them because the 10-12 axis is just really interchangeable, you know, so sometimes you'll see Yamamoto there, sometimes you'll see Nicholas, and it just gives Worcester that width that allows them to make good decisions because you've got 2 playmakers on the field.
Some lovely footwork from Harris. Lovely footwork across this Worcester side, actually. Kershaw's dummy, Laughlin's slaloming of opponents, and a nice pirouette there from the number 8. Well, there's a lot of wind in these Worcester sails now. Big fend there by Moss. And here goes Lewis in open field, but Edwards does really well to bring her down. It's hooped onwards by Wells. Could that kick assist come off? No, Musgrove hoovers it up and sets off. Skins Yamamoto. Pins her ears back. Oh, in full flight, but Kershaw does brilliantly. Loose ball turned back over. This is frenetic. Lewis puts boot to ball. It's a foot race now. Gallagher against Makeda Lewis on the wing for Wasps. A lot of jogging taking place right now. Everyone's out on their feet, and Makeda Lewis beats one, beats two, but you do not beat Sinead Harries without producing something truly remarkable. She needed to make that tackle because Lewis had eyes for one location only, and that was the whitewash.
And there was a lot of players there with their hands on their knees, taking in some serious oxygen. What a fantastic exhibition of rugby there that we've just seen. It was end to end.
Real sense that the players are just taking it in turns to show off their fanciest footwork.
Yeah, definitely. And Worcester now have gone quick and the ball's in, so there's not a lot of time to breathe.
Evelyn Clark, who was so instrumental in opening the scoring with that lovely break to set up Fionn Lewis earlier on.
Okay. Free kick.
But it's Wasps who will have a free kick, and
Come into the line before the ball's thrown. Got to stay receiver until the ball's thrown. Yeah, free kick.
Worcester's basics just letting them down there, and now it's Wasps' turn to go quickly. Roberts finds Blanco. He's met and bundled down.
Well, clear ball.
And an opportunity for Edwards to send them into Worcester's 22. We've only seen them there really once, and they came away with 7 points. We're looking for that clinical edge again.
Yeah, I would definitely assume, Wasps need to try and get something on this scoreboard, especially for half time. Like we've talked about, we know that they have a really good functioning line out with a good maul drive. I mean, it is a long way out, they're just on the edge of the 22, but again, really crucial to try and take something from this entry into Worcester's 22.
Blanco just not finding her mark. It's gathered by Akina Gondwe. And it's Worcester who have it once again, going hunting for a fifth. Just camped on the outside of their 22.
Take him back.
Lewis to Nicholas, to Yamamoto. Picking out Foxwell. She's been fantastic off the tee and now looking to make inroads, ball in hand. Lewis barking orders. The Petite Generale of Joe Yap's side. Oh, she looks to go quickly, but not quite on the referee's mark. Shake of the head from Makeda Lewis, who got pinged there.
Still got to come back round.
Yeah, and Worcester have got to be really careful here because they just keep giving Worcester like really easy exits. Worcester are under pressure there, but a cheap penalty and they're back in Wasps' half. And I think coach and staff probably from Wasps will just want them to be a bit smarter and a bit more accurate once they get into those 22 options.
Lewis over the top, but Moss does really well to tidy that one up.
Ball's out, clearly available.
Nicholas assesses her options, looks for a little chip up and over the top, but it's knocked down by Fee Cooper. Nicholas has a lot of work to do to make sure that is presented back cleanly. Lewis now, lovely hands from Harries, lovely feet too. Ball out wide, trickles into touch.
Ball's live.
Head in hands from Worcester.
Still live.
Yeah, there's some moments of brilliance, isn't it? And then there's some moments where I'm sure Joe Yap has got a head in her hands. I think at both times, both teams just need to just settle a little bit more. It's become a little bit loose, hasn't it, in terms of it's a great fend initially by Sinead Harries, but then she just hasn't looked and cited her support. And for a player of her quality, you would probably expect better there.
69 appearances for Wales, 4 World Cups, 1 Commonwealth Games. She has done it all. Not won the Prem 15s though. And every effort counts here today. Worcester such a growing force within this competition, and with their long-term future secured, great to see what they can do in all the seasons to come. Inside ball from Edwards, finds Lennon. And Roberts. Lovely quick hands from Mead through to Blanco. But again, it's messy, just hasty from Wasps, and Yamamoto frees up Buckland Harry. Onway can't keep hold of the ball today, and here sends Lewis. She's got plenty of defenders in her way, but she's beating them one by one. Oh, Akeda Lewis loses a shoe but keeps hold of the ball. She is playing a blinder, and Wasps have the advantage here. Cooper into heavy traffic. And Wasps, a pack possessed, picks and goes. Patient repeated efforts now. It was heart in mouth stuff from Lewis, but now it's time to roll up some big sleeves and put in some meaty drives. And here is one from Katie Dugan. Scored a try earlier. Could Wasps be on their way to another? They still have that advantage. That's the insurance policy. Cooper trucks it up. Wasps go again, looking for a second try. What that would mean to these women. Worcester defending valiantly. Roberts, Edwards, wide pass. Vaughan Fowler scoops it from her bootlaces, wrestling with Vicky Laughlin, frees her hand. It's Lewis again. It started with Lewis. Will it finish with her? Not yet. Ball goes backwards. Mead engulfed in blue and gold jerseys, 5 metres out. Blockbuster stuff at 6 ways, 4 metres. Again and again. The phases are building, so is the tension. Wasps have only scored 2 tries in one other match this season. This would be huge. Still short. They've been attacking forever, but they will not give up. Cooper is digging for it. Queuing up to have a go. Sandbags against the flood from Worcester, but to no avail. That's the second score. Wasps have shown so much heart this season just by being in existence, and it was epitomised by that try there. Wasps have their second.
What great patience, you know. I don't know if we've got the phase count on the screen, but they went through multiple phases there. I think we're only going to see the end of it and the try, but just the patience, you know, especially when you haven't been a side that's been known for your attacking prowess, to be able to kind of get knocked back, yes, they're on penalty advantage. It's just really smart. They've gone side to side, they've tried to move the ball, and then they just go over the ruck in the end. But for me, great patience by Worcester. It's a tenacious defence by Worcester, so to capitalise there, take some point out of it, is really, really crucial and will really help kind of build the confidence in this group.
Hannah Edwards looking to make it a 7-pointer, and it's a very nicely nudged conversion. 2 more added to the tally of Wasps. They have come here to fight.
They really have, and I think if you look at the score and you've been watching this game, you would not say that this is a team that haven't picked up a single win in 12 games this season. So they really, like you say, have come to play, and they're really doing themselves proud at the moment.
Well, with those extras, Hannah Edwards finds herself on 198 points in a Wasps jersey, but even more importantly, that is now Wasps' highest tally of the season. Before now, 12 was their biggest scoreline, achieved just last week at home against DMP. We are in uncharted territory. And Worcester have a bit of thinking to do, because the gap now is only 12, but here is Fionn Lewis. Line speed from Vaughan Fowler, stopping that outside break from coming off. Laughlin places it backwards. Nicholas to Yamamoto. Worcester struck back immediately last time that Wasps got themselves on the score sheet, and they will look to replicate that now. Lewis to her fly half Nicholas. Fullback Abby Kershaw wants in on the action, but it's Saunders who drags her down and gets over the ball.
That's a good turnover. Just go back on, knock on in the tackle. Just a knock on. Scrum.
This for me, what a great piece of play from Lewis, isn't it? You know, she beat so many defenders. Bit of a step there. I think Charlie Howie's gets in the way of Vicky Laughlin there, but the pace of her, she loses a shoe on the way. What pace, what strength.
Doesn't need it, absolutely doesn't need it.
And Taz Bricknell then did throw it into the crowd 5 minutes later though.
Did she?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's allowed, but that's absolutely fantastic. She got it back. Yes, can confirm. For those of you wondering at home, Makeda Lewis is back wearing 2 shoes.
Coach.
I think the doctor kindly gave her shoe back.
That's why he went to med school for 5 years, to fish shoes out of rugby stands.
Let's go.
Worcester, ball away cleanly. Harry's through to compatriot Lewis. Now it's out to the Roses. Kershaw. Here is Evelyn Clark. Wow, look at the pace of Evelyn Clark! Swift strike play right off the back of that scrum. Slick as you like, and then Evelyn Clark running so fast. If she were a cartoon character, she'd have left her eyebrows behind.
You've been waiting to use that, haven't you?
Actually, genuinely just occurred to me because I thought she looks like Roadrunner.
Yeah, you could have asked. But this for me is one of my... I love it. It's a first phase starter done so well. It's done from the scrum. Again, we just see the run in, the pace of, like you say, of Roadrunner, as now should be commonly known. But it's all the lines that make up for that. You know, it's a really nice pick from Sinead Harries at 8. She attracts the back row, and then it's the running lines from that. We talked about 2 playmakers, having Yamamoto and Sarah Nicholas there. Both of them are able to take the ball to the line, and those little moments is how you fix defenders and how much space that they gave Clark on that outside.
Flags stay down. It's not to be for Foxville, but Worcester up over the 30 mark. And Katie, how crucial is it, before we heap more praise on Evelyn Clark, that they struck back so quickly for a second time?
Yeah, it is. You know, as when you're thinking about like coaching and messages and things like that, you want to make sure that if a negative action's happened, the next thing you do is really positive. So if you are scored against, the next thing you want to do is score. And for Worcester, I think it's really important that they want to keep that gap as big as possible. You know, Wasps clawed back to 12 points there, but again, another 7-pointer, and it's nearly 15 points.
We've had 2 absolute wonder scores from the wingers for Worcester Warriors, but they find themselves just coming a little bit unstuck again from the restart. Evelyn Clark, here's one for you. She's one of 8 sisters.
I did hear this. I was talking to Jo Yap earlier, and what she did inform me is they go alphabetically.
No, they don't.
Apparently, yes, they're up to E. Obviously, if anybody doesn't know their alphabet, have a look. E.
So she's the 5th then, I assume.
Well done.
Quick, A, B, C, D.
Better than me, yeah.
Apparently all of them incredibly athletic. Lots of track and field in the family, and you could see all of that sprint training, because my word, she can shift.
Yeah. Very, very talented athlete out there.
Definitely looking forward to seeing lots more of her. So many exciting young English players, but here's a young Scottish one, Liz Musgrove. The scoring in this game is absolutely rat-a-tat-tat.
Yes.
Wasps now 5 metres out. We have to stop making conversation, Casey. You cannot take your eyes off this fixture. 7 scores in 36 minutes, and it looks like we might be on the cusp of another one. It was patience and discipline which got Wasps their second. They are very much in the market for a third and going about it the same way. Ball, try scorer driven backwards. The ball is loose. It's gathered by Robert Edwards now. Through the hands of Lennon, it's a looping pass to Musgrove, who started this one all off. Wrapped up by Kershaw and just short. Worcester think they've knocked it on, and yes, they have. It's a goal line dropout. Desperate defence from the Warriors. And I wonder, did Molly Saunders go a bit too hastily there?
Yeah, I'm sure her forwards will be furious. If you go, you've got to get it over, and you certainly haven't got to knock it down. And again, though, they get ball back and another opportunity for them to counter.
Here comes Lewis. Has she done her laces up properly this time? Saunders looking to make amends. 1-2 with Lewis, her winger, who scampers infield. Another one with an athletics background, and you can really tell. Roberts finds Blanco. Pinwheels and goes again. Look at the leg drive. She's not tall, but she is mighty. Lewis is staying down, and the referee goes to his pocket. Harris Phillips shown a yellow card.
Yeah, I think that's a team offence. He did have a word with, I think, Vicky Foxwell after the last Wasp score to say no more in this area, and obviously kind of the next person who was going to give one away was always going to end up in the bin.
That's a real loss for Warriors because she is so pinpoint with that delivery.
You've got the edge of the
Just
mark.
a few minutes left of this half. Worcester with the bonus point in the bag. Wasps with their highest points tally of the season. And here comes Chris Blanco, affectionately known as El Tigre,
Inside the 15, inside the 15.
for her exploits with the Spanish national side. She picks out Helen Coe, the skipper. Calls the line-outs as well. Busy afternoon for Coe, and here come Wasps. The ball is with Cooper in that blue scrum cap at the front. It's eventually brought down, but they're 5 metres out for the third time, the fourth time in this match. Hunting for a third score.
Nothing clear.
It's Cooper. Look at those bodies, look at those blue shirts clustered, swarming round the ball. They go the other way, down the blind side. Edwards to Saunders, and Lewis might just have... Oh, it's been knocked forwards for a second time in a matter of minutes. Katie Daly-McLean rests her head on the desk.
Oh, it was such a really good identification of space.
Can I just put time off? I just want to talk to him.
Great work, it's well moved. I think they were nearly, it was a walk-in. Great tackle, is it, by Abby Kershaw, comes across at the last minute and just forces the error. But yeah, it was such a great decision by Wasps to go and attack the space.
You could see the panic it caused amongst Worcester. Suddenly all the hands were up, all the defensive leads were screaming at them to get around the other side.
Yeah, and when you're when you're on your line, you've got no space behind you, so you can't drop back and try and give yourself more time. You either have to go kind of go try and get the player and get out of the line, which is really difficult. But I think probably Vaughan Fowler was potentially in as well. She didn't even need to give the pass to Lewis.
Well, they will have a line out 5 metres out. And with half-time looming large, a half-time I might not be running towards if I were a Worcester player. I think Joe Yapp might have quite a lot to say. But here come Wasps. Final throw of the dice, the final throw of the rugby ball, and Coe does really well to pirouette mid-air and bring that safely down. It's Stock with a carry, the Irish under-18.
5 offside.
3 phases. Wasps now with the free hit. Stock goes again. That looks down to me. That is down. Right as half-time looms large, here come Wasps. A third score for the first time this season, and just look at what it means to them.
And when you're sitting at the bottom of the league, moments like this are so important for team morale, you know, little bits that you've got to clutch on, 2 tries, 3 tries, and then all of a sudden you're in the game. But again, forwards for me have been phenomenal, you know, their set piece work, their drill, getting that ball, it was like you say, it was a great take under quite a lot of pressure, and then they just go to work. You think Worcester, you know, pretty organised, but Wasps keep taking yards, and for me it's all about their body height. Chest is down, so it's really difficult for defenders to get underneath you and drive you back because you're so low. And here she just doesn't give up. Leg drive, what a great reach that is. Really good awareness of where the try line is, really good ball protection, and what a great little finish.
And with that kick, Hannah Edwards finds herself on 200 points for Wasps. What a moment for her, what a moment for her team, and absolutely, essentially and enormously, Casey, Wasps are a try away from a try bonus point, which would be their first points of the season.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's exactly will be the message that their coach and staff are. You are doing really well, momentum, you're in this game, you're making this Worcester side look distinctly average, but let's go get some points from it. Let's go get a loser bonus point if we can. If not, even potentially thinking about winning this, but I definitely think you want to take something after a first half performance that was that good. It deserves some points from this game.
Sat watching at home, LJ Lewis must be absolutely beaming, and she deserves to be. And also, interestingly, the headline out of Wasps this week was Liz Craik's call up to the Red Roses squad, but all the other forwards in her absence as she returns from injury, as you've already said, they've been magnificent.
They really have, and that is a very good Worcester pack that they are really competing with today. And I think for me, I'm really, really impressed. You talked about Blanco, she's gone very well. Really, really solid start.
Let's just take a look. That's it. It took a couple of minutes for the scoreboard to open, but wow, when it did. I mean, it really set the tone for this whole first half, didn't it?
It really did. We have had some absolutely really spectacular tries. This first one by Fionn Lewis, but was made by Abby Kershaw, made by their awareness of the short side, and like we talked about, just that ball transfer, the pace. Sorry, I think that was Clark, wasn't it? It was Evelyn Clark that one was made by. But again, just a lovely little line by Fionn Lewis just to pick her pocket and to be able just to run it in.
And then Wasps swift to respond, and in a way that I think we would come to realise would be their bread and butter today.
Yeah, definitely. Their set piece, especially their line, has gone very well for them. I think they've been able to kind of manage the ball at the back and being able to keep nudging it forward, and Worcester, to be fair, have done a really good job of trying to defend it, but I think the way that Wasps have protected the ball and managed their bodies, it's just like you say, it's been a really, really dominant way for them to come and take some points out of Worcester.
Now, I don't know this. I wonder how swiftly in a match previously this season Wasps have scored a try, because them scoring so early must have filled them with real hope. It didn't just feel like a consolation score in a game that got away from them. It was a statement of intent.
Definitely, 100%. And you look at this try again, it's gone kind of Worcester, Wasps, Worcester. This try from Evie Gallagher was lovely, but yeah, I think it's the momentum, isn't it? It really kind of keeps them in the game, and it doesn't let the game run away from them. And some really lovely offload, and the skill set of these girls to manage their bodies and to be able to lift the ball is brilliant.
I think I accidentally attributed that score to Buckland Hurry when it should have been for Jemima Moss. So, Mr. and Mrs. Moss, if you're watching on, what a score from Jemima.
And then this one, we talked about this at the time from Vicky Laughlin, the glider, isn't she? She's that really lovely, elegant runner. But for me, it was all made lovely little jump by Fionn Lewis to attract two defenders. And then it's just this step for me. Watching it live, it was brilliant. Watching it on the replay is even better. She absolutely sells the defender. And then, like we say, just glides in. And Liz Musgrove is working extremely hard to try and chase her down. But doesn't look like Vicky Laughlin's even got into fifth gear.
It's still as you like here. It's dry. It's a quick track at six ways. It is perfect conditions for these young flyers to have a go, isn't it?
It is, and for me, it's just a mix of what we're seeing. This one here by Karis Phillips, we talk about the flyers, good fast track, but then it's just down to set piece done really well. Ball again, well protected, good form, more forwards get a nudge on, and good decision making. I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying that those players that are at the back, whether it's hookers, whether it's back rows, are getting their head up and they're picking out space.
And then Wasps came again after a couple of false dawns. They were held up at one point in the bottom right hand corner of our screens, and then there was Lewis drags into touch and knocking the ball on the other one, but this one they made it stick.
Yeah, again, smart play. They've gone through multiple phases for this try. They've moved the ball, but again, it's just identification of space. They've probed around either side of that ruck, and then in the end, thinking actually they haven't got anybody in the boot, nobody in behind, and they just leave it. But for me, this is my favourite try of the game. First phase, absolutely lovely. Everybody doing their job, getting the ball to space, and allowing somebody like Evelyn Clark, who is a quick athlete, just to have a nice, easy run in. But for me, it's made by the centres. It's made by the decoy lines to fix defenders.
Jo Yap, of course, heavily involved for years with England under-20s, and you can see in some of these youngsters, Abby Kershaw, Evelyn Clark, Jemima Moss, that the young Red Roses blooming here at Worcester. The future's so bright.
So bright. It's brilliant to see, when we're looking at this, the pace and the athleticism of these young players, it's amazing to see. Very envious.
Of course, you could still be out there, Katie, 100%. And that's not even to mention Akina Gondwe, Vicky Laughlin, because we view them as established senior players now, but they're not long out of the under-20s.
No, and that's the thing, is I think it's a lot of players that are kind of shouldered with old experienced heads who actually haven't been around that long, are still young and still have a long career.
It's testament to how many tries we've had in this first half that it feels like we've been talking over tries forever, Katie. There's a very exciting guest down pitch side with Ashley Wilmot. They're waving at us. I reckon they can hear us. So let's go and see which superstar, World Cup returner and Worcester Warrior Ashley has rustled up for us. Over to you, Ash.
Too loud into these things. Here's something.
We're going to have fun, eh, Claire? We weren't ready. I know. We got distracted. We were waving at you, weren't we? So I'm here with Paige Farries. Paige, you know, you are 10 points up, but we were just speaking before we came onto camera. You know, was it a clean sheet that you were after?
Yeah, I mean, you always have to be hunting. That's got to be the goal, is to get a clean sheet. Like, we've spent a lot of time on our defence in the last couple of weeks, so like that really was a big focus going into this game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough start. There has been a few handling errors from both sides. You know, have you been surprised by that? What do you want to see from your side?
Yeah, I think that there's some nerves. Like, there's like some young players who are getting like their shot today, so like there is going to be some handling errors associated with that, but we really need to like settle it, calm it down, like cool heads. I think something I'd really like to see is like a little bit cleaner. There's a lot of penalties going on our side of the game right now, and like eventually you're going to run out of pitch if they're going to keep marching you back 10.
Yeah, I mean, you're literally 10 points ahead.
Yeah.
It's probably not the scoreline that yourself, your team, Joe Yap was expecting maybe at half time. Do you think you underestimated Wasps?
I don't think we underestimated them. Like, we really do respect Wasps. Like, you have to respect them. Like, they've gone through a lot this season. Like, hell, we absolutely know that, and they're a very resilient side. I just think it's just we've lost our heads a bit.
You know what? You can always get your head back. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
Listen, if Joe Yap knows how to do something, it's motivate a change room. So
Yeah.
I think we'll see a fire lit underneath them.
Well, I'm excited for that. I'm actually going to just invite Katie. Katie, grab a mic, join the party. I mean, it's nice of you to join us. She's going to be with us in just a second. Here we go. Hello, you.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's quite a trek, so thanks for joining us. I mean, quite the first half. I mean, what do you make of it all, really?
Yeah, I mean, it was for a neutral, it was a very good game of rugby. You know, I think we talked at the show, we were a little bit worried for Wasps. You know, they haven't had the most easiest season, should we say, but I think that there were some real bright spots. Probably as a Worcester player, you're maybe slightly disappointed with how Worcester have gone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a neutral, so yeah. Yeah, so there are, you know, times where I've been shaking my head, but I have a lot of faith in the second half that the girls can pull it together.
Yeah, I think for me, some really lovely moments of play. I thought Vicky Laughlin is gliding our way through, Evelyn Clark as well. I mean, again, wingers,
you know, the real heart and soul of the game.
We love it. We love it when they shine, don't we?
Especially talking to another winger, even better, isn't it, as your teammates go on. But no, I thought they've been bright.
Now, pre-match, Ollie, the assistant coach of Wasps, was speaking to me, and he was saying, you know, look out for our back three. Now, they have been really, really exciting, haven't they? Especially Liz Musgrove.
Yeah, she was definitely one I was going to be mentioned. I've really enjoyed watching how aggressive she is when she counters. You know, as again, I'm talking to a winger who loves counter-attack, but ball in open space, and there seems today to be a lot of open space, but also just the involvement she's getting in first phase. You know, she's getting some lovely inside balls from Hannah Edwards, and it's really challenging Worcester's defence.
Paige, do you think that's going to be a player your team are going to want to close down?
She's had an incredible half so far. You got to keep an eye on her. She's been very, very good. Like, she accelerates into contact. She's always looking for work. Like, on attack and defence, she's been pretty exceptional. So, eye has been noted.
You're on Paige's radar.
Yeah,
I was just speaking to the Wasps team, actually, and they were saying, you know, that's a record score for them. It's huge, actually, for them to come out here and put in a performance like that. Yes, they're not leading the score line, but I mean, in terms of morale, in terms of, you know, just a confidence. That's huge for them, isn't it?
It's massive, you know, especially when you're sitting at the bottom of the table with no wins. You are literally looking for anything to really raise your morale. So to get one try, they're like, right, we're in it, and then obviously Worcester go and score, then to kind of counter again, and then to finish the half like that. We were just chatting upstairs to say you would be looking at picking up points here. You might not necessarily get the win, because I think, like you say, I think Worcester will go clear as the second half starts to build. You know, we look at your bench, we look at Wasps' bench. But for me, you want to get a 4-try bonus and potentially try and stay in that losing bonus point because they deserve it. After that first half of rugby that they've put out today, they definitely deserve something to take back to London.
Yeah, that first half is always going to be important, especially like you touched on with the bench. They've only got 5 options on the bench, so that could prove crucial and probably play in your favour, Paige, for the second half.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, like, you really have to respect Wasps. Like, they're a very, very resilient side, and so I think we are going to see resilience on Wasps' side. They don't give up to the 80th minute, but I think you'll also see Worcester start to pull away.
I mean, yeah, Wasps aren't giving up. I mean, just before half-time, they got their other score. Their heads are not dropping at all. What do you want to see from both of the teams in that second half?
I think for me, it's going to be really crucial about territory. I think we've seen a lot of this game in the middle of the pitch, and I think we know there's some very good kickers on both sides. Sophie Nicholas, Yamamoto, good tactical kickers. But for me, I think for Wasps, Hannah Edwards just needs to ping the corner. She needs to play Worcester really, really deep in their half, because what we know is when Worcester are on the front foot, when they're getting quick ball, picking off these short sides, they are very, very dangerous, and I think that'll be really, really crucial. If Worcester are going to go to score, Wasps should make them do it from inside their 22.
And what do you think Joe's going to be saying at half-time for this one?
Just tightening it up, to be honest. Like, we honestly have put so much emphasis on defence, and you can see it. Like, there's moments there where the defence is looking incredible, but it's about sewing together those consistent moments.
And there's not a lot of stoppage time. There wasn't in that first half. You know, is that must play to Worcester's strengths, because the work rate is going to be it is intense, and I expect it will be in the second half.
Yeah, I think it's going to be huge. You know, what you don't want is a high ball and play time if you haven't got a massive bench, and that's certainly what we've got. We saw times when the ball had been multiple phases, multiple line breaks. Lewis and Musgrove are going end to end. Everybody else is kind of hunched over, hands on their knees. So I think, like you say, I think Paige has touched on it, will play to Worcester's strength. But if Wasps can stay in this fight, keep challenging Worcester's skills, keep getting them little wins, because the more wins you get, you start to rise, that confidence, that resilience that we've talked on. It's going to be really crucial come the second half.
And I mean, we did speak about it pre-match. Wasps, we all know, they're going through a lot, okay? They've had a really tough time. They know they're not in the league next season, but the heart that they show week in, week out, and then to get a result, you know, even if they do lose the game at the end of the day, to get a result that's a record for them, I think that's something to be happy with, at least, Paige.
Yeah, no, you can't fault Wasps. Like, they show up, they want to play, like, they wanted to be in the season, like, they wanted to be there next season. Like, you really can't fault them. Like, all the heart and soul that rugby's about is in the Wasps team, and yeah, it's very, very respectable.
It's a team with such a big history, isn't it? And, you know, we look at the league and the future of the game, and don't get me wrong, it's going to be wonderful, but I think losing sides like Wasps, we lost Richmond, there's where the game started for the women, and they're, for them, like you say, what they're carrying is not just this group, it's the weight of the Wasps, of all the legends that have come before them, and I think you can see the way, the pride that they're playing is pretty impactful.
They definitely are doing them proud, that's for sure. Now, Worcester, of course, you've got Sixways confirmed as your home stadium, which is fantastic. You've secured a place in the league next season. What does the future look like for Worcester, Paige?
Yeah, I mean, it's very different. Like, we're kind of in uncharted territory. Like, we are now a women's side who stands alone as a women's side, so we kind of need to navigate what that's going to look like. But we have an incredible community behind us. Like, we have the entirety of Worcestershire that wants a rugby team to support and come out and yell at, and I think, like, that's really special, and so we do want to take that community aspect and run away with it.
Absolutely, and I mean, you can just tell that from the amount of support here. There's great support here for Worcester. They're really backing them, and that does mean a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, the turbulent time that these guys have gone through is remarkable, that they're still standing, and I think, you know, the community getting behind them, like you say, they want a rugby side. The region wants a rugby side, and the women are going to provide that. Then let's get behind them and support it.
Let's definitely do that. Paige, it's great to chat to you. Katie, you better go and join Claire, and I guess we'll leave things there. Claire, back to you. I think they're out. We're ready to go.
They sure are back out, and I can just see Casey Daly-McLean using all of those 116 caps worth of fitness to scramble up the obstacle course here at Six Ways and up to our commentary gantry. If you've not done the route before, honestly, it makes Tough Mudder look like a Sunday stroll. There are ladders, there's scaffolding. It's a helter-skelter ride, but it's well worth the view. And that woman there, Hannah Edwards, she's having a bit of a field day at Six Ways, bringing up 200 points for her club. And at the heart of a seriously impressive Wasps performance. 3 tries in the bag, 1 more for that elusive first point of their campaign. But what will Joe Yap have said at half-time? One change to let you know about is that Alex Callender is onto the field for Warriors as a big cheer goes out for our referees arriving onto the field. But yes, Alex Callender is on. Evie Gallagher was capped at 40 minutes for her debut, returning of course from that ankle injury. So on in her place, and just across from Edwards, who will get us back underway momentarily, is the Welsh flanker. 5'4" of world-class irritant. She's an absolute nuisance wherever she goes on the park. Definitely someone you want to play with rather than against. And we, because Katie Denham-McLean is now alongside me again, you can have a moment to get your breath back. Cannot wait to see Callender in action. Katie's taking on a rehydration sachet. That's extraordinary.
And some energy gel as well.
Massage guns coming out. It might be a while till we hear anything from Katie Denham-McLean. Look, Katie, you can't go and get a massage.
Happy?
If only.
Time.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? These commentary massages. Well, it's an early micro victory for Wasps. 10 points the difference. And I just wonder, Katie, you were down there speaking to Paige Farries, a world-class player. Do you think Joe Yap might be rethinking her selection slightly?
No, not at all. I just briefly bumped into Jo there, and she kind of said it's just that balance between wanting to overplay but be accurate with how you're playing. And I think that obviously will be a really key message to that Worcester side, is just getting that balance well, but just not forcing the play.
Faith in processes.
Yeah, no.
And there, back swings the pendulum. And we talked about Alex Callender being someone who wastes no time in making her mark on the game. She's already up close and personal with Hannah Edwards.
Time off. Need someone, please, Mike. Time off.
Just a slight delay with getting this scrum underway. Will be Worcester's put in. No one on the blind side. Worcester very much looking to attack down the right here. But of course, Karis Phillips in the sin bin, so they do need to complete their front row. And on comes Scotland's Lana Skeldon.
Time on.
Let's go. Big fucking shot pass.
Sit!
So Skeldon's first involvement of the afternoon. It's a one-handed pluck from the base from Harries. Oh, so casual. And now Foxwell
Just lost forwards.
losing the ball forwards. Neither side making it outside of those 10 metre lines.
No, and I don't know if you can hear it, but the energy there from Wasps, they are massively pumped coming out for this second half. You know, started well, a little bit of an individual uncharacteristic error by Hannah Edwards, but again, defensive force and errors from Worcester, and I think they are going to be really edging to try and get another try on the board.
They're such a spirited side, but so heavily against them have scoreboards been recently that second halves must have been really tough. This is a completely different complexion.
Yeah, and it's really hard if you've only got 5 on your bench, you know, like you touched on. Ball and playtime was big, and that really does take its toll on players, especially if you don't have fresh legs to come on.
Edwards again now looking to wrap around with Lennon. Now finding Musgrove. She was bright and exciting in that first half, but the ball just flung beyond the reach of Susie Flowers, who's on and wearing 23.
I think I'd just like to see a little bit more territory in that situation. It's great that both teams want to play, and it's exactly what we want. But just to manage the game, you know, as we watch this from the scrum, it's a lovely little play, but it's all a bit too far away from the line. It doesn't really commit any of Worcester's defenders, and it can just slide off here. And Liz Musgrove was not a particularly accurate pass there.
Well, here's Seth's calendar. A blur of scrunchy ponytail and lifters. And speaking of territory, how's that for Warriors? They're into the 22. Flowers on tidy up duty, does well. Kershaw's in over the ball, looking to make a real contest of it, and it's really slow and ponderous at the breakdown there for Wasps. Pinned against that touchline and looking to exit under all sorts of pressure. Moss disrupting there, just slowing it down further. Edwards awaits, ready to put boot to ball. Doesn't make the yardage she'll have wanted on that, but that is a bit of pressure released.
Really, really lovely kick there by Sarah Nicholas, and what I was talking about, just put so much pressure on defensive sides, especially as a fullback. When you're coming across, you don't necessarily know what the chase is like. You're on your own, and you have to manage a bouncing ball. It just changes the dynamic.
It was actually Susie Flowers, who's just come on a minute ago, who ended up fielding that one all the way out of position off her wing, which suggests that Wasps' new backline haven't quite got themselves in a groove just yet.
Yeah, definitely.
Lewis has it out the base of that. Nicholas. Oh, what a hit that was by Makeda Lewis. She was eye-catching in the first 42. There are plenty of players, Katie, putting their hands up for that Player of the Match award. Good luck choosing the recipient of that one. Lovely hands from Skeldon. Here is Moss. Skeldon in support. Such a dynamic player. And Nicholas again skips out Yamamoto. Laughlin has it, hunting for a second. Bumps off Musgrove. Finds Yamamoto. And Worcester with an advantage, 5 metres out. Come back for the penalty. Lewis looked like she was shaping to kick there.
I think she just wanted to put it down and get a quick tap and trying to get in motion there. Yeah, I think she was unlucky because he definitely felt like she was talking to the referee to ask for that.
And of concern to Wasps fans watching on will be the fact that Edwards, their playmaker, their experienced playmaker, has stayed down and is just getting a little bit of attention before the posts. Just talking to one of the doctors. And it's still just getting a little bit of attention. Now, we talked a little bit about Liz Craik's call-up to the Red Roses squad. We haven't touched upon the fact that Worcester have their own Red Rose in Lydia Thompson. Now, she's not in action today, but obviously you know her very well. You've lifted some quite prestigious pots together over the years. How good to see her back in a Red Roses jersey.
Yeah, and I think it's so important for, you know, we know World Cup wasn't kind of how Lydia would have wanted it to finish. I think the opportunity almost to put that to bed and to go and get an opportunity is great.
And Taz Bricknell is over. Right as we're chatting about Lydia Thompson, it's her teammate who adds a 6th score and just widens that gap. An important moment. They really wanted the first score of the second half.
They did, and again, they didn't start that second half as well as similar to the first half, wasn't it? A couple of errors, a bit loose with possession, but I think the assist came from Alex Callender in the end. Thought they might have gone to the line-out, but no, run a nice little again, set piece move, something that's definitely from the training ground, and she has run some great lines for the majority of the first half as Taz Bricknell, and another one again, just that lovely little out to in and hits the space rather than hitting the body.
Bricknell in her 4th season now at the club, plays all across the back row. Really essential part of this squad. Wasn't at the World Cup, of course, so she's been a beating heart of this Worcester side right since the start of the season. And so too as outside centre Vicky Foxwell. She has been excellent off the kicking tee this afternoon. Adds another 2, 36, plays 21 here at Six Ways. Worcester looking to put this one to bed, and Wasps still within touching distance of that bonus point score.
Yeah, I think that's what Wasps will be after now. They'll be looking about trying to keep the score close, but also definitely getting another try to give them at least a point from this game.
We will return to the matter of Lydia Thompson. Edwards down the throat of Lewis, and now Nicholas
Always inside.
hacks it forwards right up towards the halfway line.
Sorry. Just
Put that on a plate.
Yeah, a really sensible decision, wasn't that? Just get to the half, reassess. Paige Farrell's taught that Worcester in the week has been working really hard on defence and really defensive organisation, so now a real good opportunity for them to go and shut Wasps down and get the ball back, but in Wasps' half.
And they will need to shore up that defence, because Gloucester Hartbury are going to be a tall order in round 14 next week. To shore up their basics as well.
Number 5, straight across. Yeah.
I think going back to obviously Lydia Thompson, like I say, I think it's really nice that she gets the opportunity to put on a white shirt again. You know, we know what a phenomenal athlete and a phenomenal finisher she is, and I think for her just to put it to bed, and I think it's great to see her name in there, because she is a fantastic all-round person as well as a rugby player.
I think everybody who follows this league, and indeed the Red Roses, would completely agree with you there. You want the last time she pulls on that jersey, whenever that may be, this season, next season, in a decade's time, to be a really memorable and wonderful occasion. She'll be following on today, no doubt, Lydia.
Okay, take a step.
As Lewis just marshals her troops, hooks the ball out and looks. So she's going to pop it up over the top, offsets Laughlin in hot pursuit. It's gathered, and Lewis back on her feet, but not for long, because Yamamoto shoots up from the line and brings down her opposite playmaker. Tuck, oh lovely little dummy, just dancing up over the top of that one, finds Musgrove.
Ball's available.
Now on wearing 20 for Wasps is Tess Brawner over. The scrum half was at Harlequins a couple of seasons ago, but playing for LJ Lewis's side now. And I think Wasps have had 5 entries to the Worcester 22 and come away with 3 tries this afternoon, so some alarm bells ringing.
Yeah, like we said, Worcester have been working on their defence as well, so probably will be disappointed with that, especially probably the way in which Worcester went about those tries. Wasps went about those tries will probably be particularly disappointing to Jo Yaplin, her defensive coach.
We'll play it safe. It's a short ball to Mead at the front. The ball just dropped on through contact there. Good pressure from the Worcester defence. We'll have a scrum just on the 22 as Gondway gingerly gets to her feet.
And I wonder now, like we talked about the first half, whether the level of fatigue, because of how well and how much ball and play time happened in that first half, whether we're just starting to see some little errors drip into Wasps play again, and just an uncharacteristic drop of the ball in contact, when they were very good at that in the first half.
And where Worcester find themselves in a very luxurious position is they do have all 8 players, 6 forwards, 2 backs to bring on, and one of them now, I think it's Cara Brinkat, is in the second row, replacing Amelia Buckland-Hurry. And it's an embarrassment of riches amongst the loose forwards for Worcester. They have so many options. That's why they're the league's top turnover side. But we will have that scrum again. See boys there of Gondway.
Just hold the weight. That's fine, it's my voice.
Young and exciting loose forward. Played under 20s with Jo Yap. But before that, and I absolutely love this, she grew up playing at a club called the West Kent Divas. Can they sell stash? Love a West Kent Divas something.
Would that be your team?
I'd love to play for a team called Divas, absolutely. Do you think they just refuse to play when it's wet?
100%. Only play on dry, sunny days.
Mariah Carey doesn't do stairs. The divas don't do muddy pitches. Here we go then. Lewis pops it in and offsets Harries. The direct route was available, but she wanted more than that. Beat herself a couple of defenders, gained a good 10 metres there. Moss. New England under 20, making her first start of the season, and what an impression she has made. A fabulous score in the opening 10 minutes and still carrying hard. Lewis is there to catch the chip over the top from Nicholas, but somehow surviving a couple of jitters. Worcester managed to keep hold of the ball, and Lewis opts to go quickly. This time she gets her wish. Little show and go, shapes to pass the Karras. Phillips, but doesn't. Harries again with that fancy footwork. Here is Brinkat, ball in two hands from Yamamoto, fizzes it over the top to Laughlin, going through the gears, accelerating past defenders. 1, 2, 3, count them. Laughlin has her seconds. She makes it look so easy.
That was a really well-worked try. All started by Fionn Lewis, who I think for me is having a real solid performance today. Looks very, very sharp.
I haven't seen anything clear, there's nothing clear.
So it's all from this little tap penalty, isn't it? And then when it's moved, we've got Yamamoto. We know the perk of having a second decision maker in there, and it's a lovely weighted ball. You know, she just sees, and for me this is a really good smart bit of winger play. It doesn't show from this angle, but how flat Vicky Laughlin is. By staying flat, she stays connected to her playmaker, which means that she can just throw a nice flat ball and it beats all the defenders, and we know what a great finisher she has been, and beats 3 defenders pretty easily to run that in.
Foxwell does it again, adds another 2. Now, Katie, to my uninitiated eye, that looks quite similar to the play that we saw that unleashed Evelyn Clark off the back of the scrum. Are we seeing lots of training part moves from Worcester today, do you think?
I think definitely from their set piece, you know, they look very organised and look like everybody's on the same wavelength. For me, that's just really smart decision making, and like you say, it's players that have obviously played together and are aware of what the decisions that they might look to make, and in that case Yamamoto knows she's flat, just lifts the ball, and it's a great pass.
Yamamoto, who plays for Worcester on the club side of things, but represents the Sakura 15, Japan's international side, been to 2 Rugby World Cups, and is a firm favourite for everyone here at Six Ways, who erupts as the ball is turned over. What an immediate impact Cara Brinkat has had.
Yes, the energy she brought, hasn't she there? Gondry was in the counter ruck, but just gets a nudge for her teammate, and the pair of them, the work rate and the weight they put through that. Wasps can't do anything but handle when the ball's on the floor, and penalty to Worcester, and they're back deep inside their 22.
And hunting for an 8th. So interesting with these 2 parallel storylines today. Worcester looking to shore up their performance, looking to consolidate a win. Wasps hunting for a try bonus point. It's all eyes on the women of blue and gold, and it's Brinkat who receives that line out from Phillips, and look at that maul go. Laughlin's all about pace a moment ago. This one is all about power. Wasps managed to bring them down, and it's knocked on too.
It's a really good bit of ball defence there from Wasps. You know, it looked like you said that Worcester had been able to build it and they really started to get the nudge on, but actually by just staying in that fight, by not giving in, by players working to try and get into the ball carrier, they did a really good job. And obviously the rules are, if that ball is not playable from a maul, opposition side get the ball.
No, that's good, that's really good call. Rather than back up with that.
And it's Helen Coe just having a word with the medics, taking on some water.
No, that's a good call.
Captaining in the absence of the Wonder Woman that is Liz Craik. She's been on a massive journey, RJ Lewis told me earlier on in the week. Can't speak highly enough of the loose forwards who arrived at the club a little while ago and has really grown as both a person and a player, and captaining them today to what could be quite a historic afternoon this season must be such an honour.
Yeah, definitely. You know, big shoes to fill, but her performance alone, she's been instrumental in all the good things that we've seen from Wasps today. Is her work rate, she's good body management, carries very well, very good in the line-out, one of their main line-out jumpers, so it's put out a real solid performance for this team.
Speaking of solid, scrum just creaking there from both sides. We'll have that one again. Brianna Oval wanders back over, ball beneath her arm. Calendar's hair is already all over the place. It always starts immaculately and lasts about 90 seconds. You were quite a fan of it, a strong partial plait, weren't you, Katie, back in the day? But actually, not even partial. There were cornrows once, weren't there?
Yeah, 2010. So we're going back. We're going back a while. All thanks to my friend Rachel Burford.
I say bring them back.
You're not the only one.
Go from the base of that one. And it's Lennon who had to carry back into the pocket. Here is Edwards. It's gathered well by Clark, and everybody in Six Ways You Feel just sits up a little bit in anticipation. What sorcery will she conjure up now? Lewis to Nicholas. Yamamoto again. Foxwell frees her hands. It's that woman again. It's Vicky Laughlin. Just beats the two defenders this time. A quiet carry by her lofty standards. And Lewis finding Calendar. Two of the smaller figures on the pitch there, Blanco and Calendar. Logs in combat. They're both so powerful though, despite their frames. Harries to Nicholas. It's looping. It's gathered. Good defence by Wasps, bringing Jemima Moss down. Lewis is under all sorts of pressure and bundled into touch. Where was the support for the Worcester scrum half there?
Yeah, she looked like she'd lost her options there, didn't she? A great hustle from Wasps. You know, they're not dead and buried yet. I think it's really important that moments like that, they keep fighting, get the ball back, get the opportunity to fight, as we see Worcester unload their bench.
And what a quintet to bring on. Lana Skeldon, we've seen her already, but also Carmen Tremelling and Steph Evans. So it's a full overhaul of the front row, and also into the fray, England under-20 scrum half Tori Sellis and Caris Cox, who has been sparkling this year.
Massively, one of a player that I've really enjoyed watching for Worcester. She's been very good when she's played for them.
The Wasps, these afternoons are long, so it's still Chris Blanco throwing the line out. Cooper has it, but bundled unceremoniously backwards. 15 metres out now. Edwards hoists it heavenward. It's gathered very nicely by Laughlin. Gazelle-like taking to the skies there, and then Rhino-like carrying half of Wasps with her. Moss, Calendar, lovely swift hand. Skeldon, show and go, turning Lewis inside out. Nicholas, everyone's having a touch here. Cox, what an introduction to the game, caught in a Wasp sandwich.
She really was, wasn't she? It's one of those that as you receive the ball and you realise that maybe actually you would have rather your inside player carry that.
Oh, hey, Karis, yeah, great to see you. Here's 4 Wasps players in the touchline.
Yeah, with a metre of space. And by the way, don't go into touch. Again, though, it's really good intensity for Wasps. We've talked about the battle that they've had in so many of these games, and these are the moments that I think are really important. You know, they're all still working. It's great work by Lana Skeldon just to chase Lewis's shoulder there and to fix and give, put other player into space, and really good skills. But again, the recovery from Lewis, she's beaten once, but she works so hard to get back and make sure she makes that second tackle and saves a try. And it's really important for Wasps that they keep their head and keep doing that.
And then on the other side of the ball, you were at the big game yesterday, and you loved how every single player in the Exeter Chiefs side could handle brilliantly, and I feel like we saw almost all of Worcester get a touch just then.
Yeah, I think it's how the women's game has really kicked on for me. There's 2 points. It's a kicking game. I think you see a lot more competent kickers in the women's game now, but also just how comfortable a lot of the forwards are in wide spaces. I think once upon a time, if you were forward, your job was to carry. Now that you've got Lana Skeldon in the 15-metre channel as a hooker, running very, very comfortably, doing her basics very well. And like you say, it's something that Exeter did extremely well yesterday.
Wasps do well to retain that one, and it's Blanco barrelling through the centre of her own maul. Now a carry from Katie Dugan. Looking to exit, Edwards is there. She has got such a boost on her. What a take from Abby Kershaw. Laughlin fizzes it to Yamamoto, who in turn fizzes it to Cox. She puts her head down. It's a foot race against Musgrove, who does really well to cover there with Molly Saunders in support. Flag goes up. Worcester are attacking and attacking, but Wasps' defence holding firm.
Yeah, I think Joe Yatt will probably be getting a little bit frustrated. Paige Trouty talked about that, just tighten things up and a bit more accurate with what they're doing. And I think you can't, they want to play, they really want to take Wasps on and have a go, but I think they're probably one of those times that maybe that ball has moved so well across the backfield to space. Probably you just need to take that breakdown. Once you realise Liz Musgrove's going to make that tackle, come off our left foot, step back in, take the breakdown, and let Worcester recycle the ball. And they've probably got Wasps on that next phase.
Actually, talking again about big game, that was something that Ailey Sinclair did so wonderfully yesterday for Chiefs. What a season she is having, but she was amazing, I thought, at never letting herself go into touch.
And it is, I think sometimes wingers get a really rough draw, don't they? Give a ball in a metre of space and not like we've just seen. But yeah, she was so good. She took opportunities of when to take players on. She did that really well. But actually, when there was a threat of the touchline, came back in, set it up, and just allowed a platform to play from.
She's rolling in the path.
Well, by hook or by crook, Wasps are determined to get out of their own 22 at some point. Still trailing by some margin, a gap at the moment 34 points. Oh, but Laughlin unable to hold on to that one. It's about the first mistake she's made all afternoon. Wasps come up with the penalty, and all of a sudden they might well get out of their own half. We've not looked left, it feels, Katie, for about 10 minutes.
I did think that. Body position is firmly down to the Wasps try line. But again, we've talked about this all day, Claire, haven't we? That they've got to be, when they get these opportunities, they've got to take them. And for me, that they're so close to get this point from the game, which would be massive in the context of their season.
It really would be something special to be there for it. A quick mothers' meeting between Stock and Blanco. And Wasps now with their best attacking position for some time. Lewis, hands on knees, lurks just behind the line out. Could they deploy her? Yes, they do. And off she sets with a fend and a lovely little shuffle step in field. Cooper's in over the ball. Drawn her over, hit late, but manages to get the ball away to Tuck, who in turn is driven backwards. Lewis slow to her feet. Edwards just dinks it through and it trickles its way into dangerous territory. What a lovely bit of footwork from Kershaw there. Absolutely bamboozling Musgrove. Fantastic pick-up, and here goes Skeldon. Talk about forwards who don't know that they're forwards. Lana Skeldon, a bowling ball in a rugby jersey. That was magnificent. Sellors, the scrum half. So it's Kershaw who plays at 9. Through the hands of Bruncat. Nicholas finds Moss, who eventually just bunny hops over the top of Tuck. Yamamoto in his support, but it's not enough, and Wasps managed to turn it straight back over.
Yeah, it's end-to-end stuff, and Wasps have now tapped and gone quickly as well.
Gemma Jo Linkins with the footwork there. Bricknell, try scorer of the second half, who's in over the top of it. Got an injury and
Sorry, I haven't seen her out.
Brings stuff to a close for the moment. Wasps player in some considerable discomfort below us.
Yeah, I saw
It's Becky Ball, she's down and holding onto her right knee.
Yeah, it didn't look nice. There was nobody around her. One of those that just looks at her knee is buckled underneath it, and I really, really hope that it's nothing too serious, and just hopefully a little bit of shock.
Vicky Laughlin. Again, we talked about an old head on young shoulders. Well, Vicky Laughlin, is one of the co-captains. Here is another of them, Lana Skeldon. My word.
Yeah, and you know, these are elements that we know that Lana has in her game. We probably haven't seen them as much. You know, it's a great battle between that starting two-shirt here at Worcester between Karis Phillips, obviously Wales hooker and the Scottish hooker in there. And I think for me, it's just that ability to break the line. You know, she's very comfortable in carrying the ball.
They're a really nice pairing, according to Sean Moore, because Lana Skeldon, she's the fire, she's the passion, and Vicky Laughlin, she's the ice, she's the cool head. Is that something that you can achieve quite nicely with a co-captaincy? You can have those contrasting personalities. When have you experienced that?
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because this co-captaincy is becoming more and more current. I think previously you would have had captain and vice captain, but now you see it more of kind of a back and a forward. And I think it's brilliant, you know. 2014, myself and Sarah Hunter are very, very different. She is much more kind of the ice, and I am definitely probably much more of the fire. So I think you definitely see that in relationships, because it just gives you so much balance to managing your squad, because people react to different people in different ways, and you want to reach as much of a range as possible.
I think I know the answer to this then. Who is fire and who is ice with Marley Packer and Sarah Hunter? Is that a really stupid question?
I'm not even going to answer that. Packer's obviously the ice.
Well, I'm thrilled to be alongside you if you were fire, because I think that means that we have fire in the booth, in the commentary booth.
We need it right now as well.
Oh, tell me about it. My hot water bottle has long since stopped being a hot water bottle.
It's probably
You
going
can
to
just see there
be
quite how full this stand is at Six Ways. You were down there at half-time on the way to join Ashley. I imagine it's got even busier since we headed up here at kick-off.
Yeah, it's a really nice stand because it's quite compact and it looks very full. I think it must be hard because of the way the camera angles films. You don't see how brilliant that crowd is. You know, it's great that Worcester are here to have this as their ground. You know, it's a really quality ground and good surface. It's not going to be affected by the weather, and something for the community, like we talked about, to really get behind it, to back. You know, they're putting on some great scores, some great tries. It's a really entertaining team to come and watch.
They absolutely are. We'll be seeing so many of these women in action in the TikTok Women's Six Nations. Just a reminder, there are still tickets going for a couple of the Red Roses fixtures. The first one up against Scotland. What are you most excited about? Take that as big picture as you like, but that opening fixture, Casey, what's getting you excited for?
I mean, as a northern girl, the fact that we get some women's Six Nations at Kingston Park for me is absolutely brilliant. You know, I spent a lot of time as a young girl going to watch the Falcons play, so the fact there's going to be a women's girl game there is absolutely, it's really, really important for the game. You know, there's been a lot made of Sale being the most northern side, and there's obviously a massive rugby passion up there in the northeast, so I think to have that for me is great. And you know, the fact it's England-Scotland in Newcastle, you'll get a lot of Scottish fans down, so I think it will make for a fantastic spectacle to open the Six Nations.
100%, and there are the details there. So Kingston Park as England take on the Thistles. Italy are in town. By town I mean Northampton on the 2nd of April, and then La Crunch, the big one, at Twickenham, 1pm kick-off there. That should be not only a world record, we're hoping, but a fantastic afternoon. Now, you talking about sailors reminded me, I swore I wouldn't let you leave here today without telling us a little bit about Lizzie Duffy, because a lot of people might not have seen her play. Why has she got that call up?
I mean, for me, it's great to see, first of all, and she thoroughly deserves that. A young kid, she out and out fly half, has a little bit of a rugby league background, but it's, to be honest, been the performances that she's been put in. She's a very aggressive 10. She's quite slight in frame, but loves that defensive world, loves challenging the line, loves to carry in. And I think it's great that as a young kid, because we don't really have a lot of pathway, you generally go from club rugby into international. It's brilliant to see that Simon Middleton has selected a 42, because for those young players coming through, it's their first experience of international rugby. You know, she's not the only one in that group to come in as almost a bit of an apprentice and to get a real sense of what it's like, or what it could be like, to go on and win your first cap. For me, is brilliant, and like I say, she thoroughly deserves it. It's great for the North to have a representative there.
We know that Holly Aitchison is the 10 that they're first and foremost looking at for this campaign. There's Amber Reid in the squad, but could you see Lizzie Duffy getting a run out?
I think we'll all see how she goes. All I know is that having worked with her, she's definitely got the temperament. I've already told her that she needs to make sure that she's done her homework before she goes into captains and knows everything. But she's got really wise head on young shoulders, and I think in an environment where you're going to be surrounded with the likes of Amber Reid in there, Leanne Infante, Mo Hunt's obviously back in there. You've got a lot of other experienced backs that I think if you did want to give somebody like Lizzie Duffy an opportunity, there is other players that will support her and help her do that. But Holly Aitchison is a fantastic rugby player. She is returning from injury, so yes, has the potential to be a very good 10. It's obviously a massive shame, and we wish Zoe Harrison all the best. Hella Rowlands is also on a return there, so England do have a wealth of riches. We just need to get these girls fitted and get them back playing.
And the presence of Lizzie in the squad and of some of the other youngsters, how inspiring do you think that will be for, particularly at Sale actually, where we're seeing that Sale have got their future secured in the Prem 15s, and someone as young as Lizzie is getting a call out, for someone like Niamh Swales, who's another massive, prodigious talent, that must make it feel really tangible.
Yeah, 100%. But for all these young girls, they talk about what the purpose of this league is about, and for me it's massively about developing the future talent, and I think that will only come if these girls get an opportunity of the next step. We don't necessarily have once you go from 20s, you go back to the league, and then your next experience will be international. So I think opportunities to have extended squads where they get a taste of working with different players, different experienced players, the likes of Sarah Hunter, Marley Packer, girls that they've potentially only ever played against, to see how they perform in an international environment, to see the level of competition that those girls still bring when they've got an excess of 60, 70, over 100 caps. I think it's really important for our younger players to see this is what the experienced girls do. Right, I need to match that and do more to earn that shirt.
We're being shown some stats here, Katie. Cast your eye down those columns. What is it that stands out to you?
I think for me, you can't look past that territory stat, can you? Wasps have had 61% of the territory, so they are in this game. They've had 52% of the possession, so more than Worcester on both areas. But actually, it's Worcester's conversion rate, isn't it? They've made over 809 metres ball in hand, as we've seen. So I bet a high proportion of that by Vicky Laughlin.
720 by Vicky Laughlin. But they have had to put in an awful lot of tackles.
Yeah. But again, it's probably because of the possession of Wasps. And this is the big thing for Wasps. It's about utilising that possession. They are getting the ball. We know they're getting entries into the 22, but it's when they've got the ball, it's how purposeful, how accurate they can be with it to make sure that actually the scoreboard keeps ticking on.
Wasps' performance today has been, from what I've seen of them this year, their most impressive of the campaign. They've got Loughborough visiting next week. Now, Loughborough are a team that are really struggling this year. Would it be fair to say that if Wasps could build upon this next week, they could have a really good go at Loughborough Lightning?
100%, and I think it just takes one moment, doesn't it? Especially for sides, and having played a lot of my rugby at bottom of the table side, you just need something to get your hook into, and that really raises the game. And I think for them it's going to be about moments like this, getting early scores, keeping the points difference close, making sure that they're really competitive and staying in the fight. And I think, like you say, Loughborough haven't been performing like we would have expected from them. The big result from Bristol yesterday. So I think they will obviously, similar to us, Worcester today, will want to go and put a marker in. Actually, Wasps are going to say, look, we are not going to be that team that you're going to do this to.
Well, it's Becky Ball getting clapped off the field here. She's got her knee strapped up, but what is good news is by the time she headed off there, she was smiling, she was joking with Helenko, her captain. Hopefully she will be receiving the best possible care.
Yeah, and we obviously wish her all the best in her recovery.
Now there's the small matter of a round 13 fixture to finish. 13 minutes left to play. Worcester Warriors with the bonus point all sewn up, and you suspect the result. So it's all about how they finish and whether or not Wasps can do something truly special and getting another try on the board, and therefore bringing up that try bonus point. And one change to the women in blue since that break in play. Niamh Williams is on. So too is Caitlin Clark, both of them making their Premier 15s debuts and marking it with a scrum penalty.
I mean, what more could you want with your debut? She just trotted off there, didn't she? Like, my job was done, and off I go. But yeah, brilliant. And again, and for Wasps, it's just about momentum, isn't it? Each moment, making sure you capitalise on them. And a really solid kick there from Hannah Edwards.
What a kick that was. Showing all of that experience. She kicks on average, Hannah Edwards, almost 30 times per 80 minutes in play. Sizable sum. And that one she really made count. So it's over to Chris Blanco, the Spanish hooker. See if Wasps can manage something really quite remarkable here. Well, Coe rises the highest. Oh, but not to be.
Not to be, and again it's another moment going past. But I think for those watching and those potentially that haven't seen Wasps play, on average Wasps have only been scoring 3.5 points per game.
Wow.
So this, like we say, is so instrumental to really starting to turn their season around, in comparison of Worcester, who are averaging about 24 points per game. The difference in the discrepancy is huge, so they are doing really well today.
This has been the performance of Wasps season. They have been a joy to watch, but look at that Warriors maul go. It sets off at a canter. Compressed bodies in blue and gold, and Sellors fizzes it out to Nicholas. Musgrove and Flowers not communicating now, which allows Laughlin to hoof it, pick up the bounce, and she will have her hat-trick. No, she won't. Look at the selflessness there. Karis Cox will be over instead for her third score of the season, but all made by the audacity and the accuracy of Captain Fantastic Vicky Laughlin.
I think the forwards will have something to say that it was made by that driving maul.
Yes, a very good point.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, we've talked about how dominant Worcester's set piece can be, and that was a real prime example of it, wasn't it? It absolutely marched Wasps back. Really interesting decision, you know, penalty advantage from Sarah Nicholas, and it's not dealt with. Two Wasp players haven't really communicated. Kick through, she gets the bounce, it sits in her hands, and like you say, it was really unselfish play, isn't it? And it's quite an easy run in for Cox.
It's just Steph Evans just readjusting her ponytail as Yamamoto readjusts her footing and lines up a tricky touch line conversion. Flag stay down, but not a bad effort from the brave Blossom playmaker, who I saw in an interview once reveal that when she first came to Worcester, when she signed for this club, her greatest fear was that all there would be to eat in the UK was fish and chips. She was delighted when that wasn't the case. I just loved the idea that she'd signed a contract before checking to see whether or not the national diet consisted of anything other than battered cod and chips.
Everything you need to know.
Exactly.
But she's not involved in the game.
She has fit in seamlessly, described by Yap recently as a little superstar. She's been heavily involved in this performance from Worcester today.
Keep stepping.
I think our 12 shirts really suited her as well. It's allowed Worcester to play a little bit wider. It's allowed them to utilise her skill set as well of that pass and distributing game.
She's come from knock your player, knock on only.
Little injection of energy for Wasps
Just a knock on for me.
as they force the knock-on from Worcester. And let's see if those young props can magic up another penalty. Less than 10 minutes to go. Katie, this is your 5-minute warning for a player of the match, so get that thinking cap on top of the Willy one you're already wearing.
Started to make a list.
It's going to be a long one.
Coach!
Browner over. Barks in order.
Set!
At her forwards. We'll have that one again. And up rises Wasps front row. This stage Stock, Williams and Clark.
Let's go.
Wasps within touching distance of that fourth score. They'll really feel like it's an opportunity gone begging if they don't manage it.
It really is, and I think, I don't know whether kind of the wind has really started to kind of leave their sails, you know, like we talked about, only a bench of 5, a really big high ball and play first half, so like you say, it's a really good opportunity for them, but they need to take these moments.
Here is a moment, Makeda Lewis, little 1-2 with Edwards, who stabs it through Kershaw. Wasps will come back and have a penalty. Another bite at the cherry. Running it back, you can see the urgency and brought her over. 7 minutes to magic up 7 points.
Really, really important that Edwards puts this out now, gets to touch. I think we could go for a little bit more distance in that situation, but ball is out, and we know how good their line out has been.
Okay, Mark's hit, so step. Wasps.
Blanco exhibiting all of that sevens fitness. She plays at flanker too for her country, so she really can move around the park, but still going strong, still hooking, still throwing. 74 minutes in. Looks to pick out Need, but it's lost, and Brinkat blocks it from the sky, finds Moss. Dancing inside and out and eventually placing it backwards, Sellors. Here's Evans. Oh, Stock looked for a moment to have stripped her, but the Warrior does really well to keep hold of it. And then Wasps turn it over. They'll have another chance.
Wasps are really living dangerously, aren't they? And referee keeps kind of pulling them out and giving them more opportunities there. Obviously not straight at the line out, but again, going back to a very, very similar place. And this is the moments that really, really are so important if you want to take a point from here.
Could this be the moment? 10 metres shy of the 22. A word or two between Tremelling and Evans. No mistake this time, it's Coe, the captain, who rises the highest. Cooper finds Saunders. Brought down by Callender, of course she was. Callender's a tackling machine. Made 80 at the Rugby World Cup, the top tackler, and it's her who rises with the ball. Combining brilliantly with Bricknell to turn that over, and Wasps go quickly. Worcester through Laughlin, frees a hand, finds only turf. Somehow it's clung to by Tremelling, and Sellors drops it, bounces backwards. It's a scrappy passage of play, but it's still the women in blue and gold who have it. Sellors, Yamamoto, bit of miscommunication there, it's knocked up, offset Wasps. Helen Coe, could she be about to get the try bonus point? An enormous and utterly ecstatic moment in the Premier 15 season. Wasp story has a fairy tale twist. They have their first points in the table. That was the try bonus point, and what an appropriate woman to finish it off. Helen Coe, their captain, barging over, opportunistic, and giving them a point they so richly deserve.
100%. You know, sometimes you just need a little bit of luck, a little bit of the rub of the green, and she certainly got that then. It was from a bit of a Worcester error, wasn't it? You know, it bobbling ball, Worcester being a little bit loose with possession, and she just, fair play, pins her ears back, and she goes. And I'm standing here, we've watched them play. They've stayed in the fight for the full 76 minutes and thoroughly deserve a point from this game.
I think on the inside, Helen Coe is smiling. She looks absolutely winded. And Edwards adds the conversion too for good measure. What a performance she has had too. And there you have it. Wasps with a try bonus point. It feels good to say, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? You know, it's just a little bit of miscommunication, and she's the first to react. There are plenty of Worcester players around that, but that eagerness, like you say, it couldn't have happened, couldn't have been for a better player. She's been very, very good for Wasps today.
3 minutes to play. The result is gone, but 6 points being handed out at 6 ways today. 5 for Joe Yapp's Warriors. who continued to put pressure on Bristol Bears towards the top of the table.
Until you went off your feet.
One for Wasps.
Stay up. Good
I think I'm
camera.
ready.
You went off your feet. Stay
Oh,
up,
do you?
please.
Oh, okay, here we go. Everyone stand by your beds. Katie Daly-McLean is about to name her Allianz Player of the Match.
So there's some definite notable performances. You know, I think we've got to talk about Evie Gallagher. First 40 back after a really long injury. I thought she was very, very good. She certainly didn't look like she'd been away and out of the game that long. I thought Fionn Lewis looked very, very bright, you know, recent naming of contracts, but just looked sharp in everything she did, and a lot of the good stuff that Worcester did came through her. Foxwell again kicked very well, was very good at 13, but for me, my player of the match today is going to be Vicky Laughlin. She is glided through, she's taken her tries very, very well, and her involvement in this game, I thought, from a winger, has been phenomenal.
What an afternoon then for Vicky Laughlin, co-captain. Some very well taken tries and a chance to chat to our very own Ashley Wilmot, which is prize enough in itself.
Just an extra roll. She's rolling the floor, stopped 11, getting onto the ball.
A minute left to play then. Worcester turning that one over. It's Yamamoto who will get things back underway and march us back upfield.
What's your 10 metre?
I think we'll
Let's
have
go,
one
Worcester.
final passage of play. And another woman surely in your considerations was Minnow Yamamoto.
Yeah, she's been brilliant. I think she's just allowed them to tick, but I think in a game like this, when scoring 50 points, you know, your centres and your 10s have got to go very well. But I just really enjoyed the way Vicky Laughlin took her tries. I thought there was some really lovely individual moments of brilliance where she's beating players, very confident ball in hand, and I think for Worcester that's what you need. You need your back, the way Joe Yap wants them to play, you need your back three side. I thought Evelyn Clark as well. I mean, there's a list of players that we could go on to say who've gone extremely well today.
Send them all down. Actually, there's 23 of them. They're all wearing blue and gold. Have a word. Wasps, though, still not going down without a fight. They want to have the final say in this one. Katie, can you see a world in which maybe next March we're looking ahead to the TikTok Women's Six Nations and we're discussing the call-up of Vicky Laughlin to that Red Roses squad?
I think it's really surprising. There's definitely some omissions that we thought we might have seen. You know, Phoebe Murray from Bristol has been phenomenal. Vicky Laughlin, Maisie Allen, some real stand-up performance. I think it's just really important for those girls not to get disheartened, just to keep their head down, keep working, keep doing what you're doing, because the opportunities will come.
An abundance of riches in English rugby. Simon Middleton choosing from oh so many stars. Tori Sells fishing out that loose ball, looking for support. Where is it? It's Yamamoto. And now Brincat. Eventually brought to deck by Mead for Wasps, but bustling carry that was. Evans looking to make amends after just slapping down that pass and letting Helenko stroll in for that bonus point score.
16 out!
Bricknell now.
Advantage, too slow, 16.
Topping up the Sellos again, and Worcester have an advantage. Will they have a 9th try?
Stay down, good work.
Oh, the delighted faithful here at Six Ways this afternoon. It's Kershaw. Oh, just knocks the ball forwards there. We'll come back for the advantage. And Andrea Stock is just receiving a bit of attention from one of the medics.
Same as what I said to them down there. A couple of not rolling away penalties now. Just be, yeah. Sorry. Okay, so that one's against 16. Okay, let's make sure we're rolling clears, otherwise we're going to go somewhere.
Well, the clock's in the red, but it's not always exactly what the referee's watch is saying, so we might well have one final passage of play.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go.
Chris Blenko looked far too animated and chirpy there for someone who's played 80 minutes at hooker.
Yeah, definitely. Last one she was okay, she's fine, so hopefully it's nothing serious and just get a little bit of treatment.
I think because this has been a massive block of games, hasn't it, in between the league starting and this Six Nations. Worcester in the middle of an 11-match streak.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of teams that have got 10, 11 games. Cancellation has come in that one single gap weekend that the league holds for that. So yeah, it has been a big old slog for some of these girls. And remember, they're all amateurs, so they're all going to go back to work tomorrow. And when you're repeatedly doing that, it does take a toll. And just the level of physicality in this game alone, never mind some of those top 4 games that we've seen, it's very, very impressive from the girls.
We are inching towards true professionalism, and the inching cannot happen quickly enough. It's going to be the most professionalised Women's Six Nations we've ever seen. Absolutely as it should be. Calendar then brings the ball down, and that formidable Worcester Warriors maul, 5 metres out, slowing, starting again, rumbling, about to crash down. It does, and that's the 9th score for Worcester Warriors. They haven't had it all their own way this afternoon, but they will have 9 tries and 5 deserved points to go with it.
Yeah, it's what we've come to know from Worcester, isn't it? It's that drive and ball, even with the changes they've made. Joe Yapp's unloaded her bench there, still very, very connected, a lot of understanding, a good plan. They know what they're doing, and it's just that case of patience and just allowing themselves to make sure they drive over.
Yeah, that is time.
And that will be their 8th try bonus point score of the season, so their 8th 5-point haul, which perhaps 4th is just out of reach for them at this stage in the season. But in terms of applying pressure on the big dogs in the league, every single one matters.
Yeah, it's huge, and given what they've been through as well, to keep taking 5 bonus points is huge. And I think, like you say, 4th's probably gone now. It's realistic between Bristol and Quinns to fight that out. But that mid-table, it'll be really, really important that Joe Yapp finishes in that 6th position.
Well, Worcester Warriors were back at 6 ways and back to winning ways. They didn't manage a victory in all of February, but they have started March with a bang. Delight on their faces, and delight too on the faces of Wasps, because they have registered their first points in the standings of what has been a tough campaign. But 4 tries, that's a bonus point. Cause for real celebration, Casey.
It really is, and I know, we want the game to move on, we want everything to be competitive, but if we're realistic about where we are now, that is really, really important for a team like Wasps. They've had a really hard season, the exodus of a lot of their big stars has pretty much mean that they've had to start again. So moments like this, yes, we talk about the future of the game and it's wonderful where it's heading, but right now, for that group of girls, I am really, really pleased for them.
There are 5 matches left of the regular season. 5 matches left to sing Wasps in the Premier 15s, and LJ Lewis said in the week that obviously there is no Premier 15s action for them next year, and that round 18 match against Bristol is going to be really poignant. But a result like this, they can hang their hat on it. They can be immensely proud of themselves, and the applause that they're receiving from Worcester Warriors just reminds you that we hope the door isn't shut and we will see them again in this league.
Yeah, it's one of the clubs that's just steeped in history for women's rugby, and it's such a shame that they won't be in next year. But like you say, the doors are closed, the league will continue to develop. But I think for this group, they're going to want to go out with a lot of pride. And you talk to a lot of the oppositions that played Wasps, they say they're resilient, they put in a lot of fight. They just necessarily haven't been able to get the result that matches that. And I think for me, to pick up a point today, nobody wants to finish on no points, and it's really good that they've kind of got that weight off their back now. And like you say, 5 games, who knows, it's a real good opportunity to keep picking, focus on themselves, not worry about the score, but just focus on themselves and try and pick up some odd points.
And of course, Wasps have had an incredibly difficult season, so too have Worcester, and it's really testament to the University of Worcester Warriors that we haven't really talked about that struggle much today, because their performances just stand alone and speak for themselves.
We have, and it's had so much coverage, the things that Joe Yapp will have had to deal with in her coach and staff, and managing all the messages that would have come out of all the uncertainty. And I think it's just great for them. Hopefully it's all going to be, they've been given their conditional offer, hopefully that will be firmed up in the next couple of weeks, and then that bit of that story can also be put to bed, and everybody can focus, and especially that group can focus on the future and what holds for them next season.
Well, 2 huddles there, both celebrating for different reasons, but celebrating nonetheless. You were really impressed by Fionn Lewis. Definitely given Jo Yap a reminder, hasn't she, that Katie Mastinson might be the first choice scrum half, but she's very much in the mix.
But also in Johan Cunningham of Wales, you know, that battle with Kira Beverin for potentially that starting shirt as well. She was on the bench yesterday, so I thought she's gone very well. And I think what Worcester have done really well is just the variation in the scores. You know, we potentially assumed the kick to the line out there. They play a nice little tap penalty move again and just look really, really settled. This try here for me, Yamamoto, I thought was very good, but just the vision to go over the top of defenders. Defenders have come high, trying to pressurise, shut the pass down, and she has the skill set to say, yes, you're going to come to my passing channel. I'm just going to go over you, and that man of the match of Vicky Laughlin, you know, she makes it look so easy just to beat players for fun.
And she's currently being a very animated figure in that post-match huddle. Moore said in the week that she doesn't talk much, Vicky Laughlin, but when she does, she is, and I quote, captivating. So impressive to see her leading with her performances and her words.
Yeah, and I think it makes it easier, doesn't it? When you're having a game like that and you're performing like that, other players will listen to you. You know, and every player has something different to offer. And for her, like the way she finishes, the way she backs herself, and the way she glides, and she is obviously extremely strong as well for quite a slight figure. She fends players quite easily.
It's quite evocative of Ellie Kildun. The way that she's so balanced, as you said, and again, much stronger than her frame would suggest.
Yeah, definitely Ellie Kildun, Jess Breach, you know, the runners that they just make it look so effortless, yet run so fast. Yeah, and like you say, hopefully her opportunity will come, and you look at this one, it just wasn't particularly well fielded, but again, you've got to be in the mix to give it, and I think for there, she's pressurised, she's gone high, and she probably could have finished that herself, but nice little tip, and it's a really opportunity for Cox to go over and run that over. But again, comes from Laughlin, comes from that hard work, that press, that desire to really get in the mix, and she's done a very good job there.
And I'm not going to make the mistake again of talking about that try without attributing all of it to the forwards. Lana Skeldon's delivery and the hustle to go a good 15 metres upfield.
Yeah, the forwards were very good today for Worcester. You know, they really dominated the gain line, and that's generally where the game is won, isn't it? It's that bit where they've got to really muscle down and fight, and I thought the forwards definitely did a good job today.
And then this moment, what an absolute joy to see all of that pressure and faith come good for Wasps.
It's just really lovely to see. Like you say, you've got to stay in the fight and really admire this group of girls, to think that their heads could have gone down, they could have dropped, they could have stopped, but they fought for everything, and just to get that reward at the end, to get that rub of the green, like I said, the bounce of the ball, and to then just have the pace actually to go and finish it and get your bonus point was huge.
Skeldon really did make her mark when she came on. You can see her right at the back of that one. She wasn't the one to eventually come up with the ball. I beg your pardon, she was Lana Skeldon with the final flourish for Worcester Warriors. She is prolific. And of course also a very, very fine striker of the ball off the tee.
Indeed, a very, very good goal kicker as well. And, you know, Worcester are blessed with them. You know, I thought Foxwell kicked extremely well, as did Hannah Edwards as well for Wasps today. The goal kicking on show was of highest quality.
And there you have it. Smiles ear to ear. It's a really family affair here at Worcester. Trying to see if we can spot our player of the match. Yes, there she is, right on the end. Wasps celebrating too, as well they should. And hopefully in just a moment, Vicky Laughlin will peel herself off. There she goes now, and head on over to speak to Ashley Wilmot in our little studio position. I also think by the looks of it, Helen Coe is heading over. How is Helen Coe jogging after 80 minutes at number 8 over to our studio? That is absolutely miraculous.
She looks very fresh, doesn't she?